Alright, welcome back to part 2 of the anchor post of a Sketchup Basics video tutorial. So, let's just kind of review. Last time, we drew this base, then placed our holes with guides, and then did some countersinks. So now, we're going to make the actual hex post, and then we're going to carve this ring. So let's zoom in. Whoops. Let's zoom in a little bit more so we can see these dimensions. Too far. Alright. So we know from the top of the hex post, or the hex bolt, I should say, it's 20 millimeters down, and 2 millimeters out is the center of the circle. And the circle has a radius of 3 millimeters, and that's what's going to create this ring. And then we have this chamfer that's at 45 degrees, and I will show you how to do that with the auto fold. It says 2 millimeters by 45, so that won't be too bad. It'll just be an offset, and then use the auto fold of the move tool, but we'll place a guide, and we will get that made. So let's go ahead and make the post. Okay, so first off, let's make this a component. Call it main body. Oops. Main body. Alright, and because I want to make a copy of it. And I'm going to rename this one. Actually, let's just rename it here. And there it is, way at the bottom. Rename. Main body copy. Okay. Alright. Hold on just a moment. Okay, I'm back. My laptop screen's not the best. It shorts out sometimes, and so I have to pause the video in order to fix it. It has to be at the perfect angle. Alright. Anyway. So, let's get rid of these guides. I don't want to get rid of them on here. I always like to keep guides on my axes. It just makes things a little bit easier. Okay, so let's look at our dimensions for the hex post. It's going to be 25 from this end to this end, so 25 millimeter diameter. So, let's go up here, let's go back to our top view, let's move around there, tools, okay, go to the circle, hit polygon, make sure it says 6 sides bottom, and it does, and then the radius, notice the radius is on the inside of the circle. We want to change that, so if we hit control, that's what we want, puts it on the outside. So we wanted 25 millimeter diameter, so that's a 12.5. Okay, unlock 12.5. There we go. So, okay, there it is. So now we need to push it up by 60, and voila, we have it. So, I'm going to make it a component. Let's call it hex bolt. Call it good. Okay, the next thing we need to do is make that ring. So the best thing to do, best practice is to make the ring in place. Don't try to, you could make it on the outside here and then try to move it into place, but that can get a little complicated trying to find the center of the component of the ring and putting it in place. So the rule of thumb is, for best practices, for odd shapes, build them in place and then use solid tools or the native tools to cut things out. For regular shapes like squares and rectangles, those can be centered within inside of things, so you can build those on the outside and then use guides to move them in place. So let's go ahead, and we know it needs to go down 20, so we're just going to grab this edge, follow the blue line, 20 millimeters, and needs to go out 2. So what we need to do is make this one go to the center along the red. Okay. Then we need to pull this one out along the green. So left arrow to force it, and 2 millimeters. And then the same with this one. Bring it out 2. Then we can go ahead and probably erase that one and that one. And there we go. So next, let's see. Get outside of the component. So be back in model space. And hit C for circle. Hit the right arrow. And then it needs to be at 3. So it's going to put a circle perpendicular to that edge right along there. So now we need a circle for it to follow. So we need to make a circle on the top right here. Any size, it doesn't matter. Click it once, use the follow me tool, click that. Okay, we have our ring. We can get rid of this. Whoops. Okay, component, and then we have a ring. So we can either do this natively or using solid tools, it doesn't matter. Let's actually review both. So make this a component. I'm just going to call it that. It doesn't need to be called anything fancy. And let's see if nroth can handle it at this low of a level. Trim this from that. Okay, so looked like there was no issue this time, so let's hide it. Okay, output is a solid, so that's great. But let's say you don't have solid tools because you have Sketchup Make, or the web version, which is free. So what you need to do, leave this one a component. However, explode this one. Do not move it, just leave it where it is. Go up to Edit and Cut. Double click inside the hex bolt, then go to Edit, Paste in Place. Okay, right click, intersect faces with context. Okay, now you can delete the ring. You'll notice these lines right here. So what you want to do not delete these ones. These are boundary lines. This will open up the shape and then it's no good. So go to X-ray. You can see that there's a shape in there. If you do not have this X-ray button because you're in Sketchup Make, let's go find it somewhere else. Go to Styles. Under Default Styles, there's going to be one called X-ray. If you click it, it does the exact same thing. Notice up here what it turns on and off. And so this way you can see that there is indeed the shape in there. So the best way to do it is either delete a face or delete these individual lines right here. So I'm going to go ahead and hurry and do that. I'll be right back. Okay, so I went ahead and deleted each one of those lines, which deleted the faces, but notice this face is blue, this face is white. Let's go outside of our model, and entity info still says solid, which is good. But if we run solid inspector, it's going to say there's a few reversed faces. So you can either have solid inspector fix it for you, or if you just click on it, right click, reverse faces. So okay, I don't know why SketchUp has a hard time wanting to zoom out. There we go. Okay, so there you go. We have that ring all built and made, and looking at this, it says a solid component in model is 1 for this one. Okay, so just make sure everything's good. Let's get rid of these lines. Okay, now let's put it in place. So it needs to be back okay, which one tells us? Whoops. Okay, so 35 millimeters over is the edge of the where it needs to be, and it's at a somewhere along the line it tells me where the angle is. 55 degrees off of this plane. So let's go ahead and do that, 55 and 35. So let's look at this one. Let's edit the component. Let's put a guide 35 there. Perfect. So let's grab this, use the move tool. We're going to step it right there. Okay, while clicking, hit the up arrow. That puts it there. And we do need to rotate it. So let's rotate it 90 degrees. Okay, now I want to click on this little, with the move tool right here at the midpoint, and snap it right to the line. Now there is some freedom right there, so we need to figure out exactly where that needs to be. So that is the one line I didn't do, and it's going to be in the midpoint of right here. So we're going to grab a line right here, snap to midpoint, move tool again, midpoint here, drag to right there on line. Okay. Now we need to rotate again 55 degrees off of this. So how I want to do that is right at the, along the green. Oh, not at that axis point. We want to be right there at that edge point right here. And we want to go along the red. And we're going to tilt it in. So we know if we did 90, so we need to do 35 degrees. So which makes it 55 from here over to there. So yeah, so right here, from here to here should be 55, because we did 35 off of the 90. And notice when you picked it right here, let's go to X-ray, that line stayed right on that guide, and that's what we want. But now we have a part within a part, so let's fix that. Now we could do explode this one, cut, edit, and paste in place, and then cut the bottom pieces, do an intersection and then cut the bottom pieces out, and this would stay. But because we have other tools that do it faster, we're just going to do a union. So union this with that. Give it a minute, and now we have one solid part. So perfect. That's what we want. So I don't like how this box is tilted, and that's because I picked this one first, and it's following that angle. So what I'm going to do is explode it, then make a component again, and now the box is where I like it. So that line is within there, so let's get rid of that. Wait, what did I just erase? Oh, I have two lines on top of each other. Maybe that's in this one. Yep. Okay. Alright. Usually I save a copy of this post in case I need to, but I didn't this time. So, let's do the last piece. So I'm going to right click on this. I'm going to put a line view that puts me normal to it. Then we're going to use, we're doing a chamfer here, so let's do offset, and it's by 2 millimeters. Okay, so we need to do the auto fold option at a 45. So if this is 2 millimeters here, we need to go up 2 millimeters in order to make a 45 degree, because a 45 degree triangle is both sides are the exact same, and the hypotenuse is always that leg value multiplied by the square root of 2. So what we need now is to put a guide right smack in the center. So tape, let's see if we can do this. Oh, I know you can find the center for me. Come on. That is not the center. Alright. Let's see if we can... see if we can place a point. Whoops. Grab the line tool. We'll just have to do it the old school way. Okay, tape measure. And, whoops, not that one. Okay, just grab a corner. Whoops, that's not what I want. Oh yeah, it's this one right here. Sorry guys. Put it right smack in the center. Okay. And we can get rid of these lines. Okay, now we have a guide that we can use. So, using the move tool, select this one, hit M, and then Alt is the auto fold, and we want to do it along the line. We got to get, this can get a little tricky. That line is not, because I have the wrong face selected. Sorry guys. M, Alt. Wow. I am struggling with this autofold tool today. Okay. Give me just a second to figure this out. Hold on. Okay. Finally figured it out. The guide is not going to work with this. What we need to do is use the inference engine. So, holding Alt and moving, we need to wait until that face can go purple, magenta. So right there it says perpendicular to the face outside, it's active. Once you get that, let go and just hit 2 for 2 millimeters. And if you look around, there we go. We got the chamfer. So we're good. I don't know why that guide wasn't working. I've done it many times with the guide. My guess is because the last time I did it, it wasn't in this angled position. It was already perpendicular to the base, and I think that's why it was able to work along the guide. But this time I had a little bit more trouble. Anyways, but we got it to work. So there we go. So we have this beautiful chamfer now, and everything is golden, and we are still a solid. And technically we're in meters, but we've pretended we're in millimeters. That's just so that we can deal with any tiny face issues, and then we'll just scale it down at the end. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the video there, and then I will be back with part 3, and we will finish by doing this portion. And how we're going to do that, whoops, is right here we're actually going to put a line inside here and start the circle in here and do the follow me this way. And that's because and then we'll make it a solid and then do a union so it chops it right here, so it doesn't add any more mass to the part. And then this is what the finished product looks like. So let's just zoom out a little bit. There you go. Anyway, this is where this is where we will end, and then we'll pick back up finishing off this bend and sweep. So once again, thank you for watching.